Yui. What's up? How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Alright. So as you guys noticed, I finally reached 1000. I've sort of announced it. Oh my god, after so long of playing chess. Oh my god. My brain cells dying. We finally reached 1000 elo. Woo! Alright. So the plan for today is that we'll be analyzing my games. There are 11 games in total, and it's quite a lot, quite a lot of games. So we'll be trying to go through all of them in great detail and see the good moves, bad moves, and some chess 101 kind of tips for beginners. Right, I'm not an expert. I'm just a regular chess player that just is chess. And these are the things I have learned so far from other people and also from what I've experienced in games. Right, so without further ado, let's go on to the first game. Alright, so for me, I am playing as black. So this is the first game. I am have a rating of 974. Right, I'm battling against Galquin from Colombia, right? So normally when you play chess, there are 4 different kinds of ways you can go around this. If you are playing as white, you can either go for white attack, white defense, or if you're black, you can go for black defense or black attack. Right. So for this one, he plays the pawn to e4, pawn to e4. I play Caro-Kann, it's a defense, and he plays the bishop to c4, bishop to c4. This is usually what people normally would do. They would try to push the pawn out over here to control the center. They'll try to control these few squares. And the goal of this bishop going out here is to try to do the fastest checkmate pattern here, which is if you do not know, is kind of like a trap if you don't know what you're doing. So this is really common. Like 900s, if you're in a 900 rating, they will usually do this. First of all, the step, you do some pawn push, e4, bishop out, queen out, and the goal is not to make the mistake of like miscalculating things, because remember, the queen, once the queen is here, the queen can go here. Sorry, the queen after going here can go here if you have forgotten. So normally people will try to defend something, right? They will try to defend the center, right? Then of course they will miss the thing here, and then you lost the game. So he plays that, and then I play for a push d5. The point of d5 is to try to undermine this pawn or this bishop, right? So if he takes, I take, so the bishop has to push back. That's what happens. I push, take, and then he goes for this. And the objective here is to get rid of the bishop. To get rid of this, but not without using a bishop. Now, normally people would do this to trade off, right? Makes sense, right? But you don't. Why? Because in a really open position, we want to keep our bishops intact. Hello, Nero, what's up? So the plan here is I went for knight to c6 so that if he takes, I take. So I still keep my bishop pair. The bishop pair is a really powerful pair because if you know the bishops, the white bishop controls the white diagonal squares, and the dark square bishop controls the dark squares, basically. So that's that. he plays this. I go for this to undermine the pin, right? Because he doesn't take. Okay, he takes. I forgot. He takes, which is not good for him because now I am still remaining control in the center and my bishop is out in a relatively okay position. He plays for knight to f3. Right, standard castles. He goes for bishop g5, which is not entirely good because you can unpin yourself. So what's a pin? Right, chess basics. A pin is basically where some of one of your pieces, the enemy pieces, is pinning against something which is of low value in order to get a higher value chess piece. So for example, this is a pin. Why? Because the knight is a low value piece compared to the queen. So if I were to move my knight over here, my queen will be gone. So that's called a pin. So you cannot really do anything about the pin unless you unpin yourself. So the point of the bishop to e7 is to unpin. So it's of the same value, right? So if I remember the points score correctly, pawns are worth 1 point, bishops and knights worth 3 points, rooks is about 5 points, the queen is worth 9 points, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, you unpin yourself. Because I don't know why he took here, he should have not taken. The reason why you should not do this take, because now the bishop is in a really good position, is watching these areas to prevent any sort of things where the knight will go here or the knight will go here or the knight will go here, right? So that way you can still remain in a relatively comfortable position. The whole point is you want to remain in control in the center meaning the 4 squares over here, which is e5, e4 and d5, d4. This is the main area that you need to control because a lot of things will happen in the center. A castling meaning that if your king and rook, right, if the king and rook, if there's no pieces in between and you have not moved your king or your rook, you can castle. Castle meaning is like a fortress, you're creating a fortress, right? So this is some basics. So he moves the rook over to e1 to control the file, the horizontal, the e file. So I do the same. And he goes for a really offensive push. Now, normally if you do not know what to do in the next few moves, normally people push the A pawn up by 2 squares. Why? Because they want to control and they're trying to push and push to remain control of this certain square or this square. Right? Of course, I do the same because if I don't respond accordingly, something bad might happen. He plays this and I do this. Right? Right? The reason why is because you want to remain control. Right? Remain control over this. Right? If he takes, you take, right? The reason why I took here, because remember the queen is guarding the rook. So of course he made a mistake here. He should not have taken it because now the rook is technically trapped. So he has to take the rook and now I'm in a better position. Right now he cannot push the pawn because I mean it technically can push the pawn, but it's relatively pointless. Right? So sometimes you don't have to take all the time, right? If you take all the time and then right, something bad would happen. He should not have pushed this. Right? He should not push this. If you look at the evaluation bar, if he pushed this, I think he's already losing the moment he did this, right? And I did this. Right? The correct step for this is should have just played the knight somewhere. the knight should have gone here or go here, right? Or should have just taken here. He didn't, and now he's losing, right? And then we can come to this position, right? Right. So over here, he resigns. He surrenders because I don't know why, because he realized that he cannot win this one. It's impossible. Right. So that was the first game. It was really quick. Right. He tried to do the trap, the normal bishop and queen trap, which usually happens when the pawn goes to e4, bishop goes out to c4 to bring out the queen, to go here, and go here, and then you lose immediately. Right. So this is already kind of losing for him. Now the bishop had to go back. I trade the knight for the bishop. Why? Because the bishop pair, the two bishops are more powerful than the knight on here. The knight is useless, so I trade it off. Unpin, take, do normal things, and then right, everything is just the fundamentals. You castle, control the file, control the push of the a pawn. Don't do this because you lose. Yeah, don't take, you lose. And yeah, he resigns because there's no way you can win, because right, the queen, once in this position, it can do a lot of different things, right? Right, we can even go here to go here, or go here to control this area, right? Control here. So there's right, he's in the dead loss position. Right. So that's the first game. Pretty straightforward. Right, a bit of the basics. Right, let's go on to the next game. The next game is I lost, of course. Right, it's not gonna be easy, right? So I lost this one. Right, because I made a mistake somewhere. And yeah, there were a lot of mistakes here. Right, I played this. He played the advanced variation. Advanced meaning that normally the theoretical portion of this, if he goes to e4, I play to c6. He plays to d4, I play to d5. Now, what is supposed to happen in this normal variation is the exchange. He takes, I take, right? I'll be better. But he goes for a push. Now the trick with the push is you have to push, right? Reason why is if he takes, right? It's called the gambit. If he takes the pawn, you put the knight over here, so that in the later on you can control this and still take back the pawn later on. He takes, I control. He plays for a really aggressive opening. I'm not sure if I like that. Now the mistake I made here is I think I went to bishop f5, which was the biggest mistake I probably have ever done. And from here I went back, and which is probably not good. He plays really fast pawn pushes, right? And now I'm in a really bad position. As you see why this happens, I made a mistake, and then everything starts to crumble. Right? Bang, I played a really good move, I think. And then I played this because I didn't know what to do. He was trying to checkmate me, if you didn't know. If the queen and the bishop is on the same diagonal aiming at a certain piece that you have to guard the thing. Why? Because if you don't, you lose. So I had to play that. He plays for a really aggressive push. I bring my queen, and now I am sort of in the position where I'm technically trapped. Yeah, I think I made a mistake there, and yeah, and things are not looking too good. The greatest mistake I think was at the very end of this whole thing. which was this one, I think. That was the biggest mistake I've done. Was moving the bishop over here, which was not good, because now he pushes and then everything starts to crumble. And then I lose because the queen is more powerful, right? I lose the thing, and then everything starts to crumble here and there. So, right, what can you learn from this? Not a whole lot. Don't make the mistakes I did. Yeah, it's a dead loss from here on. It's a dead loss. That's the second game. The only mistake I made was to push the bishop in the wrong square, and then everything crumbles. Right. Third game. The third game. Right. Let's look at the third game. I'm playing as white as this time. Now I play the so-called London, but London is usually when you go to d4, bishop to accelerate the London, bishop to f4. You go here to control these squares here. The problem is playing the French, which I don't personally like. He plays the French. I play for a 2 pawn center d4 and e4 to control here and to control here. So he brings the queen over here, and of course I guard. So the trap here would be to, of course you can't push this, but do not bring a knight here because he would take. Right, do not attack the queen. Right, don't try to attack the queen because he would take the pawn here, and then you're basically dead. So when the queen is out targeting e4, bring your knight to d2. Safest play. Brings the bishop over here, and then of course you kick it out. I don't know why he did that. Now you can go here because you're targeting the queen but also guarding the pawn over e4. Now of course the queen has to go back, right? Then now you make a push to control the squares over here. The knight goes there to target d4. I go over here to b3 to get rid of the bishop because the bishop is more powerful. So he did that, and you should take it. Now the pawns are doubled, meaning that the pawns are in 2 pawns are on the same file. Now this is really bad for black. Why? Because the pawns are in such a position that they are weak, and when your pawns are weak, you can target them easily by just either moving a queen, right, or using the bishop later on. So I try to get rid of another one. He did this. Of course, you should take. Now there's double stack pawns, right? Now there's doubles. So it is over for black. There's no way you can win this. With the pawns like this, there's no way you can win. The rook is useless because it's defended. Now the knight is trying to target the c6 pawn because another chess terminology is called a fork. F-O-R-K. So what's the meaning of a fork? It's basically a double attack with one of your pieces, and you have to basically let one or the other die. So in the position where the knight is on e5 and goes to c6, the knight is here, is attacking 2 of the strongest pieces, the queen and the rook. So basically you cannot let the queen die because the queen is the most powerful unit, so the rook has to die. And he didn't do that, right? And then he basically lost the game, right? He lost the game. So there is absolutely no way you can win this. I brought the queen out to a relatively central position, right? Guarding this, guarding this, remaining focused in the center. It did this, and I went for this push. Now you may think that this is a really good position, right? You take the queen, I take the queen, but you gotta remember that it is not looking good for black. right? Take, take, take. Right, so now the pawn is really one more step to promotion. Promotion meaning that the pawn, as it reaches to the last row, the last rank, right, the pawn can either promote to a queen, bishop, knight, or rook. Either one of these three. So of course he has to guard against the pawn because the pawn is really powerful, and then I take the bishop. Right. So now he's already losing. I am 6 points up in material because I have a rook, bishop, and I have 2 rooks and 1 bishop. He only has 1 rook and 1 knight. Obviously, I'm gonna win based on the number of stuff I have. Of course, I target the rook, so he has to move the rook. I castle to control the center while also remaining control of the b2 pawn so that he doesn't take. He tries to go for a 1 pawn 2 push here. He's gonna probably do this. I go over here. He goes over here. We dance around here and there. Dance, dance, dance. We move around. And I take. Right? There's absolutely no way you can win this. With 2 rooks on the same rank, there's absolutely no way you can win. So for this next few parts, we're just dancing, bang. Right, all this stuff happens. Tries to do this. Now the reason why I did this, right? You may think, well, why in the world am I doing? So the reason why I did this is because he moved the rook in such a position that is in line with the bishop. So you're trying to sacrifice a unit to get more out of the sacrifice. What I mean. So I played this. Why? You may think, well, what in the world am I doing? Right? Because he has to take this. Right? He has to take this. Right? Some way or the other. He takes, and then now who's open? The rook. Now he has no more things to attack. Right? Because of the sacrifice of the rook, now I have 1 rook and 1 bishop with about 5 pawns, and he cannot do anything about it. Right? He cannot do anything about it, and then he resigns. Right? So that is the 3rd game. There's absolutely no way you can win. So there are a lot of different tricks that I tried to do over here. I just take everything. Right, from here, it's just dancing. So the purpose of this is trying to get the pawn. Right? Get the pawns. He does this. You go for the center. If the enemy does not have a lot of units, your king is the most safest in the center. Why? Because most of your units are reinforcing the center or guarding the center. So he cannot do anything. Right, he's basically lost the game. I did the sacrifice. Bang, bang, and then yeah, you just cannot win. That's the 3rd game. Right, so 1, 2, 3. Now we're going on to the next 4th game, which is 4th game. Right, there are some mistakes here. I think I'm versus I don't know how to pronounce Geo, Slovakia. Right, so I'm playing as the black for this position. I play the standard Caro-Kann defense, which is the c6. Of course, he plays the normal trap. It can go either way. He can either go to over here, or the queen will go over here. And right, the purpose of why didn't I do anything to attack the queen early on is because you want to remain control in the center. Why? Because the bishop has to go over here, right? In order to do that, your pawn has to go into the center. Because he does this, I do this, right? And then now I kick out the queen. He does this, I do this, right? He should not take, by the way. He does this, of course. I do this, which was not good. He should not play that. Do not try to attack something when you know that it's going to be defended. What do I mean? For example, when he plays the bishop to g5, right? Right, at this position, he thinks I'm attacking the queen. But obviously, he's not attacking the queen. Why? Yeah, don't do that. That's very bad because, right, remember, don't make this mistake, right? The knight will eat the bishop, so, and also attacks the queen. So the moment he did that, he have already lost the game. Yes, this is the part where I made a mistake. I have no idea why I did this push here, but that's a mistake. And yeah, that was a mistake. So the plan was to trade the off the queens because, right, a lot of things happen, control the center, and this was the part where I made a mistake. This is what I call fork, right? As we talked about earlier, a fork happens when you're attacking two pieces and one of them has to die, right? For example, I should have not done this. I should have not moved the rook. I should have just moved the bishop back here. And now he does this. So a fork meaning one of these two has to die, right? Because it's defended by another pawn. So of course I did this because I do not really mind whichever dies, because one of them is going to die either way. So the point of this is to try to remain control over this if he takes this. But he takes this, obviously he saw it. And now I do this. Does this, I move back. He's trying to get the pawns over here. I take this. I go over here. He does this. And then we're just gobbling all the different things. He does this. And now he cannot win this game. The reason why he cannot win this game already is because he took the pawn, which was at the corner of the chessboard. He took the pawn on h7. And I'm like, why would you do that? Right, unless he wants to go here. Fair enough, or he wants to go here. Right. I move back so that I can move here. Does this, I attack. Right, it's just a lot of dancing, just moving the pieces to a better position. Now, I feel like this was a mistake on my part because now he takes the thing and then now I'm, right, I get back the thing, right? Right. The point here is that it looks like a trick, right? The reason why, if he takes the bait, you get a fork of the knight. Right, so that's a trick. So one of them has to die. Of course, he notices the check, and that's my fault as well. I didn't notice that. And I have to guard this. Takes. I go here. And he's winning, by the way. I don't know. Yeah, he's winning. He takes. Go dancing. And unfortunately, he made the greatest mistake ever. I'm very lucky for this one. He went into a position where he gets forked. F-O-R-K-E-D. So, reason why you don't go here, you should go here. Because you will get forked and there's no way you can win this. And then he resigns. Why did he surrender here, even though it looks kind of fair? If he continues, if I take the rook, he takes the thing, it's lost. You cannot win this. Why you cannot win this? Because the king will go here and then go here and go here, push the pawn, bang bang bang, you get a queen, and then there's absolutely no way you can win. Right, so he should have not surrendered, but he surrendered. So right, don't make the same mistake as I did. Make sure to look at all directions when you're playing chess. Alright, let's go on to the fifth game, right? This is the fifth game. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, we're going on to the fifth game. Is there Marek, right? From the Philippines. Playing as black again as usual. Same defense. Right. Now, we have come to a position where he did not do anything. Right? Do not take, you're defending. Right? If you're playing this position or this line, you don't take the pawn. Right? And what you do is you go for a standard fianchetto the bishop, so they will target this. Right, of course he's playing really well. I took the knight, which I shouldn't have done that now because now the queen comes out. And right, and the problem with this is that I don't know why he did this, and I don't know why he should have just taken this, honestly. But now he's doing really bad. Why is he doing really bad? Because the pawn is controlling the B file and the A file. Right? It's controlling and preventing the knight from jumping around. Right? And the bishop is technically almost about to get stuck. He has to go there, no choice. I castle because he castled. Right. This is gonna be a very conceptual game because he's doing really well. Right? Even pieces, pawn, bishop, pawn, knight. Right? It's kind of fair. But I'm in a better position. Why am I in a better position? It's because that the knight cannot go here. The bishop is technically stuck. And it's getting trapped, sort of. So of course he has to get rid of some space. I jumped into the center. I forked the queen and the bishop into a really uncomfortable position. He takes the he takes this, which is of course you should not do that, right? The reason why I took this, right? Remember, right? We have to always look for checks. What is a check? A check is basically when a piece, your own piece, is attacking the king. Right? That means when the enemy is in check, the enemy has to respond to the attack of the check first. Okay, example. He did this. Bishop g5 takes knight on e7. And you may be wondering, oh my god, right? Like, oh my god, it's attacking the queen. No, it's not attacking the queen. Why? Because it is a check. When the knight goes to f3, attacking the queen, you may be thinking, oh, if I attack the queen, he takes the queen. Right? Fair enough, right? I take the queen, he takes my queen. But no, because when I take the queen on f3, the king is in check. Right? Remember, the knight goes in an L-shaped format. So when I take the queen on f3, which happens, he has to do something to the attack of the check. So he has to take the knight. He has no choice. He has to take it. And he cannot attack my queen. That's the beauty of it. He fell for the obvious, not so obvious trap. Right? His idea was that, oh, since you're attacking my queen, I attack your queen. But no, it doesn't work that way, because remember, the knight goes in an L-shaped format, and we're in check. you have to make sure you respond to the check. You have to respond to the check. Check. He has to take the knight, and then he realizes, oh shit, yeah, and then he surrenders. Right, he surrenders because take you lose. Like, yeah, up 7 points. There's no way you can win. You surrender. Right, then there's absolutely no way you can win this, and then the knight is also being targeted, and then if you take double pawns, right, I have the rook go here, or go here, and then if you take, and then push here, there's absolutely no way you can win this. Take, go here. Right, you just cannot win this. I mean, right. So that's the game for the Philippines, Marek. Right. Next game, this is the 6th game. Right. This is with Harun. Harun is from Turkey. Right. So I'm playing as white. I'm trying to play the London. Of course, I delayed the London. Normally, the London accelerated London is you're trying to go to bishop to f4 to control this square here, but he's playing a really like traditional Indian game. This is called the Indian opening. The Indian opening, when a knight goes over to f6, right? This is the Indian. There are many different openings, right? You have the French, you have the Spanish, you have the right, you have the Indian, right? A lot of different countries. So I went for the knight to f3 to delay the bishop to f4. Because I don't know what he's gonna do. So he plays for this line, and I play this, which is okay, pretty fair enough, right? Which is right, because the knight guards the pawn, bishop controls this area here. Then now I go for the standard opening, which is the London. Right, he does this, which you have not have done, because I go for the push. Do not give a check, right? Do not give a check when you're gonna improve the other person's position. What do I mean by this? The reason why I say that the bishop to bishop to b4 is not good. Why? Because you may think, oh, the king's in check. But it's actually not, because pawn c3, your bishop has to go somewhere else, right? So you're giving the opponent more space, right? Remember, chess is like a war, right? Chess is a war. So you have to control certain lines here, right? If you look at all the different lines here, you're controlling different areas of the square, right? Do not try to improve the opponent's position by giving a check. So now I go for this line here. He should not have played this at all whatsoever. Why? Because now you have a double stack pawn, which is pretty bad. Of course, I play for this. He plays bishop to b7, which is of course losing. He's not gonna win this one. And I do not know why he castled here, because I take. And you should definitely take. You should definitely take. Right. Does this, I do this. Right. Bishop has to go somewhere else. Right. The knight is of course targeting this, and you should definitely take this, because right, double stack pawns. Right, this is creating a weakness. Right, it's creating a weakness in the structure of the pawns. So I take. He does this. I play for more central control. He does this. Right, I don't know why he did that. He takes. Right, I mean, either way, he's lost this game. There's no way he can win. I go for this. Right, he cannot do anything because it's pinned. Right, remember what we've learned? Pinned. So he has to take the rook. He doesn't have a choice. I take back. He does this, I do this to remain control. So he has to go here and the bishop will be... Oh, I think this was the mistake. Yeah, this was the mistake. Okay, but it doesn't matter. Now you're gonna get a queen, and you're basically lost this game. Take the pawns, bang, 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 bang. Right, new thing to learn today. Right, it's called en passant. It's a French word, en passant. So what's the meaning of en passant? En passant is basically a rule that if an enemy pawn pushes two steps forward, right, in the beginning, 2 steps forward, and is on the same rank as one of your pawns, you can use en passant. For example, this, right? Pawn to f7 goes to pawn to f5, right? The reason why you don't do this, right, for the most case, is because of the en passant rule. If a pawn goes to 2 steps forward and is on the same rank of one of your pawns, normally you cannot eat this, right? Because you normally cannot eat this, right? Because pawns only eat diagonal pieces. But en passant is an exception. You can take diagonally even though there's no enemy here, because of the rule, the 2 step forward, same rank rule. Now I take, check, right? He cannot win, right? There's no way you can win. Right? It's basically dead. So this is the common checkmate pattern. The checkmate pattern is the ladder method. The ladder meaning that you're trying to go up, up, and then up to control and... Right? Because the king cannot go here, the king only has to go up. And then GG's. Right? So that's the game with Harun 952. Right, let's call 952. Right. Go on to the next one. This will be the 7th game, and this one is, oh my god, I lost this one as well. Okay. Right, the reason why I lost this one is because of a lot of mistakes I made. Right, it's very obvious. I played the London. He plays for a normal London. Yep. And he does this. Now, the mistake I made here is that I did not technically take it. Because now this happens. He knows what he's doing. He takes this, takes with this. He takes, take, control over here. He castles to the queen side this time. Bang. He doesn't take because if he takes, the knight will go here or the knight will go here. Right, there's no way. I go for attacking a pawn. d5. He takes. Knight is going somewhere. And I made a mistake somewhere here, yes. And right, you can see that the evaluation dropped all the way down. And if you did not already know, black is winning, right? Obviously, because this happens, and then now I'm in check. I'm getting forked. I have to move the king, and then I lose my rook, and it's basically GG's. I cannot win this game, and I am basically dead. There is no way I can win this. Right, you resign because right, you make one mistake, and yeah, you did. There's no way. Right, so remember, same principle. Right, next game, we are at 994. We are actually really close to 1000. Really close. So this is versus Vladis. Right, this is Vladis. Same opening, but this time he plays for more of a of a gambit. Do not take this, by the way. The trap, obviously. Do not take that. Just go the same principles. Right, control the center. Right, control. It's playing really well. You know, standard openings. Of course, this is not so good. Right, I think I made a mistake there. I think I think I made a mistake there. Now, rule of thumb is do not take the rook when there's multiple defenders. 1, 2, 3. There are 3 defenders guarding the rook. And I think that was another mistake. I went back, so I don't want to lose the bishop. I go for the center. Now bishop is sort of trapped. Let's go back. I push. Goes back. Push. So this is called stacking the rooks. Stacking. Take, 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 take. So now all we have to do is just to do a bit of maneuvering. I don't know why he did that. And he resigns because I have no clue why he resigned here. But wait, did I win this game? I won this game, but I don't know why he resigned. If you didn't know, Black was winning here. Over here, Black was actually winning because he can take the knight, but he didn't. So that happened. Next game, of course, I lost. I lost. This is the last loss I had before I got 1000. This is versus Henry. Yep. Henry, Brazilian. Played a really strange opening. I have no idea what was that. Pawn to a3 is like, I have no idea what is that. Take. Going really fast. I feel like I made a lot of mistakes here, I think. One of them being that I took too much. Now, with chess, taking the enemy piece is really important, right? But sometimes taking too many of the enemy pieces is not good. Right? This is the perfect example of why taking too many and exchanging too much is not good. This happens, dancing. Right? Because I made a mistake. Do not go into the line of check. I should have went over here. Sorry. No, I should have not even went over here. I should have went here to here. And then now I lost the rook. And I resigned because there's no way he can win. Right? Bishop controls here. Guy's gonna promote. Right, it's basically dead loss. It's so hard to watch my games. It's so depressing to watch my games. But yeah, that's what happens. You need to understand why you make those mistakes and try not to make the same mistakes again. Right, we are down to the last 2 games before I reach 1000. Next up, we have Atif. Atif is from Pakistan. Right. So Steve is from Pakistan. Same thing. Caro-Kann, he plays for the advanced variation. I decided to bring the bishop out to f5 to control this part. He plays this. Don't take it. You may be wondering, oh, I have stacked pawns. But this is actually alright. Because if he were to take, I can bring my bishop over here. Right? So that happens. He takes. Take. Now it's in a pinned position over here. He does this. I went back. Does this. I do this. Now we're just trying to improve our position. Take. Do not take this. So now obviously it's going for the obvious checkmating pattern here. The knight and queen checkmate. Why is it checkmate? Because if you don't do anything, the queen goes here and you are sort of you just cannot win. Right. So I have to do this. Goes back, takes. This person was giving me a lot of trouble. He's not giving up. Take. Right. Right. This was the most troublesome player I've ever played in my entire life. It's like not giving up. Because he cannot do anything, he checks. Queen. And he lost the game. Right, so that's for the 10th game, which was pretty straightforward. I only made one mistake, I think. Other than that, everything was pretty solid. From the beginning, right? I have no idea what he was doing. It's going here, bang, bang, bang. Everything is not doing too good. Right, I mean, it happens sometimes, you know, in different games, right? Sometimes you have your moments, sometimes you have a not so good moments, and that's unfortunate for him. Last game before I hit 1000, oh my god, this was the game. 9th June 2022 versus Leo Vela. Leo Vilela? Leo Vilela? Brazilian, about 16 points higher than me, which was quite a lot actually. 16-point difference is insane. This was the last game before I hit 1000, which was really exciting. Same opening, Caro-Kann. He plays this for the exchange. I went for a more traditional approach. Do not take that. The reason why you do not take this is because if you take this, it will activate the queen, and then now you're in a not so good position. Control the center. I take. I don't know why I did that. I don't know why I did that. He didn't see it. I take. I take. Control. right? Not doing too good. Right? But this guy was not giving up at all. He missed that, and there's no way he can win this after all of this. Right? This was the only mistake I think I made, which was this one. This was the only mistake I made because I did not see this. My bad. But I will still will win this because there's absolutely no way he can win this. Right? Right, and then you resign because right, the knight will jump here, jump here, jump here to get this one, and then jumps. Right, you can jump everywhere. So that is the all 11 games I played before I reached 1000, and some of them were really difficult, some of them were pretty alright, and I hope you learned something from today. And yeah, try chess out. It's actually pretty fun, I would say, although stressful, but I think you will learn a lot. Strategy wise, you'll learn a lot, like some of the basics of chess, controlling the center, right? All these things, just don't make the mistake like he did the fork, right? Don't move the queen here. Why? Because the knight will go here, and then bang bang, you lose immediately. And right, right. So that is all for today. I hope you like, got some interest, a passion in chess. You can 1v1 me anytime, right? You know my name, right? My name. Um, and yeah, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy your day. Hope you learned something. And I will be posting uh, uh, some other videos soon, coming up soon. And hopefully we'll do more interesting streams, right? And thank you so much to Yui for continuing uh, uh, with the membership thing. Right? I appreciate that a lot. And yeah, goodbye everybody. Right, take it easy, whatever you're doing. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in another stream or video. Right, see ya.